generally speaking, I've noticed the financial institutions like banks and credit unions, they have the least experience. The financial segment is sort of the latest to the table. So generally speaking, Tom, when you're talking to your clients that want to get into social customer management, the way I would introduce it to them in terms of the marketing use cases is actually through number 3, through rapid social marketing response, to show them the cost of doing nothing. So I would maybe sit down with that client, do an opportunity gap, and just say, hey, what would happen if we didn't do any rapid social marketing response this year? What would be the consequence of that? And get them to just elucidate that for you, and then they can decide jointly with you whether that'd be a good idea to pursue. Okay, this next one, let's get into this. Let's talk about social campaign tracking. It's really fun. It was used with some success, actually, by the Republican National Committee about 2 years ago. And Sony used it a little while ago really well as well. I know that the Golden State Warriors used this too. And this is all profiled in the social marketing chapter of my book. Basically, if you need to do a huge marketing campaign that you're spending millions of dollars on, why not use social technology with your customers to figure out, is this working? Do the customers dig it? So when Sony PlayStation did this about 6 months ago, they launched their new product, but they actually changed the content of the marketing campaign on the fly, like literally after it was launched, by using social campaign tracking. And I know there's a question, someone said, what is an opportunity gap, or how do I find out how to do an opportunity gap? That's a really good question. So an opportunity gap is basically a report that shows the cost of doing something or not doing something. So it's usually a market opportunity. I'm just going to give you guys a real basic definition of it. I'm going to kick it from Wikipedia to you. There's a big picture of Jimmy Wales' face. Click on that one. Don't be scared. Jimmy doesn't shave, it looks like. So social campaign tracking can save you a ton of money on existing marketing campaigns just by knowing that you're marketing what people really care about. Let's go to the next one. And the master of it, I'm talking to him, Sal Filiberto. Sal, you did a great job at number 5 today, social event management. So tell people about the sign-up process when they sign up for this webinar. How did you handle it?
Well, we make the sign-up process easy. We make sure that if they've been to our site already, that the fields are already filled in, so that our regular customers come back and they feel welcome. And it's important to give it a social aspect, so we make sure that after they sign up, they have a nice big message that says tweet that you're coming to this event, and that's gotten a lot of traction. We get a ton of tweets before the event. Then everybody's network that has registered, they're all seeing this. We're promoting this via Facebook really strongly. So we've posted this to our Facebook wall in different forms and fashions, a lot of different ways for the past couple of weeks, and that's really the social aspect of our event.
And when I was thinking of social event management, something really blew me away. I was at dinner last night with my fiancée Susan and her boss, this guy Jack. They work for a company called LTech in New Jersey. They're a Google Apps provider. So if you have corporate Gmail or corporate Google Docs, Google Apps, all that stuff, even corporate Google Plus now, because Google Plus is available for companies. They went to this conference at Google yesterday, and I was just blown away. They walked in the door at the conference. It was called Atmosphere. It was kind of small conference for Google customers and partners. And this is on the main Google campus in Mountain View. And when you walk in the door at the conference, they told you to download an app. So the conference itself had its own app, right? But that wasn't even the coolest part. It asks you 5 or 6 questions right when you're loading up the app, and then it recommends who else you should talk to at the conference based on common interests. That, my friend, is social event management. So it's not just on the internet, but it's also in the real world, because what you're doing is you're socializing the content of your event. So it can be very powerful. Let's say Katie, I see Katie's on the call, she's from the Pedowitz group. Let's say they have a customer event. They have 10 customers or 20 customers in town for a cocktail hour. Why not give the customers something to talk about with each other? And you can do that even prior to this. So that's great. And then there's the last one, which is really kind of a funky one. It's called social pull-through marketing. So let's really quick put everybody's hands down, Sal. I want to ask a sort of a pop quiz about pull-through. Pull-through is pretty interesting. So everyone put your hands down. If you have your hand up, Ed, Dan, Amy, I see you with your hand up. Give me that for a second. So a pull-through is when you are selling something, but it typically is sold through a distributor. So if I think of Starbucks coffee, for example, when Starbucks wants to get their coffee into a new grocery store, they don't always just call the grocery store. Sometimes they'll solicit their customers to call the grocery store and say, hey, we really want you to carry our coffee in your grocery store. So in marketing, a pull-through is a process aimed at moving market share and increasing sales for a certain product in a certain location in a certain time frame. So raise your hand if your product sometimes, or the service you sell, needs a pull-through because you need your customers to sort of clamor for what it is you sell. I see a few hands are up. Okay, this is cool. So this use case is really relevant to you. So last year, I spoke with a company that made a petroleum alternative. It's like an ingredient for lipstick and cosmetics. It's pretty cool stuff, actually. Make it so you don't have to hurt the environment with it, but get petroleum out of the ground. So what they wanted to do is they wanted people to call big Procter & Gamble type companies to ask them to start using this algae-based fuel, this raw ingredient. So they were soliciting customers on social media to do a pull-through. So it's rather nuanced. It's frequently seen used in politics, actually. It's a very new use case, but I think it's a very valid one, and it's one that can really help you gain market share, actually. So that's the marketing use cases. Before we go to the sales use cases, let's take a few more questions, specifically on the marketing use cases of social customer management. So if you have a question, pop it on Twitter or stick it in the chat there.
Hey, Adam, I see one right now. That conference that you said did such a great job of social event marketing. What was the name of that conference again?
Oh, yeah, that was awesome. It was called Google Atmosphere. I'm just going to put the name of it in the so this was for real, like, high-level execs. Okay, so let's see if I'm trying to find the web link for it. But I got to say, that was the way you do social event management. There's a lot of different kinds of software that are specifically for that you could actually bolt on to your awareness or to whatever you're using. But the one that I know of that's pretty neat is called Passable. My buddy Jordan Schwartz runs that company, and that's actually a social media piece it's actually just for conferences. It's like a very light social media thing. So I'll give you guys a link to that Atmosphere conference.